Folks, today we're talking 2024 case vault pattern with Mari Ford. Let's light it up. So, folks, I'm here with the one and only Mari Ford.
Yes, sir.
Today we're talking the case 2024 vault pattern, Mari. It's
Yes.
always a pleasure to have you here,
Oh,
and
man.
it's always exciting to be talking about the new vault pattern.
Well, and you know, TC, this is one of the things. So, Case is celebrating 135 years in 2024. So, we had to make it something special. We're like, hey, this is going to be a milestone year for us. Vault is a very big deal for us. So, we went back a little further. The '05 Razor, the 005 is what a lot of people will call it with the razor blade. This is going to be, man, this is going to be hot. I think a lot of the collectors, I get on all these Facebook pages that are case collector oriented or watch you guys and look at stuff. And the razor pattern, it's kind of a takeoff of the Barlow. It's like an extended Barlow a little bit. But that 005 with that razor blade, and that was something that we really challenged our innovation team and our engineers because we haven't made it in a while.
Right.
We're like, okay, there's got to be there's a certain way you do that razor blade.
Yeah.
And we figured it out, man. We brought this back out of the vault. So the '05 Razor, or again, if you're 005 specifically,
Right.
That's going to be our vault pattern this year. And it's we're going to have 14 versions just in the core catalog. So, you know, a lot of collectors get a little bit overwhelmed. These are going to be available all year. We'll do some other things throughout the year, limited productions, but the vault's always a good thing if, you know, you're starting a collection, or maybe you're like, man, it's so overwhelming when you look at a case catalog and there's hundreds of items.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you just isolate on the vault pattern and you get that pattern that's 1 year only production. This is going to be made in 2024, the 135th anniversary of Case Cutlery. We're going to make this historic, nostalgic. It dates back to even the 40s as far as when this was probably a standard production model. We've made it since then.
I was about to say, that was going to be my next question. When was the last time this pattern was made?
I know we made some in the early 2000s.
Right.
So, but it's probably been, I know it's been 15 years since it's been made. I'm thinking it's probably closer to 20 years that we actually made it. And even then, it was done in limited edition series. Some of our early limited edition series had the razor as part of the pattern. It was never as mainstream in the, Trapper, mini Trapper, razor. You just didn't see that as often. Not because it wasn't popular, it was just a little more specific and a little more unique. And that always lends itself to those limited production families.
Right. Well, and you got to think with this kind of blade, and especially with the scallop out of the end there,
yes,
it takes a little bit more finesse and a little bit more touch to do it right.
Yes.
And you guys have knocked it out of the park with this. So we're going to see this in all of these core models here.
Yes.
In addition to having some...
Yeah, there'll be some Smoky exclusives. Yeah. I know we were talking about that earlier. I think when we launch this in a catalog, hopefully spring catalog, there's going to be some stuff that they can look for that are Smoky exclusives. We'll do some stuff on our own with our spring promotional families in summer. And we're going to do, again, like we always do with the vault, we're gonna run with it for a while. We're gonna try to hit all those collector points. We're gonna hit our most popular handle materials, but don't feel overwhelmed because it is a lot.
Right.
And this is going to be the razor pattern, the '05 Razor. It's a little bit under 4 inches, so it's going to be a little bit smaller than a Trapper. But you're going to get a really good size.
Just under 4 inches on the closed length there.
Yes.
As far as blade length, we're talking. Right about 3 inches.
Cheat sheet right here.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
See, I set my ruler.
Oh, that's a genius idea. People were like, man, how's he just look down and can measure that? But
so 2.5 inches on the cutting edge on that razor blade.
Yes.
And then on the pen blade there, we're talking just under 2 inches. 1.9 inches.
And most of them will be 2 blades in the catalog. We're going to do some single blades. We're going to have the rough black in a single blade. We were talking about this off the air. That single blade is a really nice thin knife. So it is it's really good. It's going to feel really good in your pocket. I've about decided, even though I have to confess that when we were doing these, I said, most of them need to be 2-bladed because of the 2-bladed versions being the most popular historically. But when you put that thing in your hand and it's a single blade, it's like, man, that's just the right size. Just the right size.
Super slim and unobtrusive. And it's not too long, but it's long enough so that you don't lose it. I really love that single blade. I mean,
because you've
Like
got
you
one of
said.
my favorite handles there, that smooth antique.
Oh
It's
yeah.
going to have the fluted bolsters in it, the bomb shield. It's got all the Maury Ford specialty things
Yep.
that I like on everything. But it is a great knife. And then you're going to see it again, bone stag, blue bone. You're going to see it in Caribbean blue. We're going to have it in natural bone, and we'll talk more about some natural bone stuff that we're going to come out with. We're going to have it in our micarta family. We're going to have it in some new black curly oak, which is a new family this year. So it's going to be
And not only are
really
you going to
sweet.
find it in the mirror polish and the single blade and two blade version, but we're also going to have it in the kind of satin finish that you
Yes.
see here. So you're
Yep.
going to see some different models.
Some different blade finishes on there, and exactly. So in the micarta, you know, we kind of do that. It's not as ground; it's more of a Scotch Brite finish.
Right.
And then you're going to see in our yellow, where you kind of see it almost looks a little stonewash,
Like
but
working finish
yes,
kind of thing.
yes.
Yeah. I love this. And now, as far as price point comparatively to other models, where's this going to
It's
land?
going to fall just a little more than a Trapper. So
Okay.
it's not going to be, you know, the Congress, even though it was small, that 4 blade, that got pricey because that was really
Yeah.
hard to make. These are hard to make, especially with the blade design. But you're going to find these are going to hit just within $4 or $5 of the Trapper. So
That's
so
fantastic.
you can actually dive in and just go all in. You know, we get a lot of conversation about the razor blade and the style of that. There's stories, you know, like any
Oh, yeah.
case, any great case knife. There's a lot of stories. A lot of them would call it a one-arm man's knife
Yep.
because you could hook it to your shoe and open it. You know, if you
Or even on the edge of your pocket.
yeah,
I've seen a lot of old guys do
yeah.
that.
It was like the original assist, maybe. I don't know. And then obviously some folks will laugh. They say, "Yeah, it's great to clean your nose hair." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think I would do that with that. I wouldn't recommend it, but
I'm going to pass on that.
but it does happen, and obviously, you know, when you look at knives like this that had a real function. So
Right.
this was a shaving knife
Mhm.
back in its day. You
Yeah.
know, probably not in the last 50 years, but you know, back in its day. But
Well,
it's,
and
it's
when
great.
you think about the early 1900s,
Yes.
late 1800s, early 1900s, a razor blade on a pocket knife was invaluable because guys back then couldn't necessarily afford to get a separate razor,
Right. Right.
just to shave their face with. They needed something that they could touch up their face, and you know they're not always like if you think about westward expansion and things like that. You're talking about guys being on the road, so they need something that's compact that they can travel with and move with.
Multifunction, right?
Yeah.
It can, if you need to cut something, eat something, shave, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Your pocket knife, as we always say, very valuable tool, right?
Exactly.
Original tool.
And
So
as per usual with Case, you're talking about history
Yes.
and really paying tribute to history. I got to say, the one on the table that really strikes me is going to be that one right
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
I love
the
the
natural
double
bone?
X shield, the
Yes.
natural bone. It just
get
looks
that a little closer here.
it just looks super classy
Yeah.
and just
You're going to see a whole family of natural bone with just the double X's. Yeah,
That's awesome.
that is really a sweet knife. I agree. It's kind of understated
Yeah.
with just the double X's in there, very simply stated, but something I think is going to do really well.
Yeah.
I'm always drawn to the bone stag. You know, I said
Yep.
obviously the smooth antique is one of my favorites. You know, we were looking at some of these TC off camera.
Oh, that one
That's,
right there with that brass shield.
Yeah, I don't know, you have to show me how to do that there. That black curly, there you go. That black curly oak with that brass shield, man, that really is something special. Anytime when you get a beautiful wood handle, and black, I mean, it's a dyed curly oak,
Yeah.
right? But man, it just looks so natural. You see the grain in that. You see that brass shield, and it's got that elongated bolster a little bit. Again,
Yep.
reminds you of the Barlow.
Mhm.
And a lot of people will call that like a medium Barlow anyway.
Yeah.
It's it's going to be a great one. You know, like I
love
said, 2024 is going to be the year of the razor, and it's going to be a lot of celebrations for Case with our anniversary. We celebrated Smoky's big anniversary
Yep.
last year. Now it's Case's big anniversary, and we're doing that in style with a great vault pattern.
I love it. So when can people expect to see these hitting the shelves?
So our goal has been to try to get as many in the first quarter as we could. So expectation would be in February, you're going to start to see some of these become available. I would suggest, and I think you guys are doing some pre-orders on there. Hopefully you guys will have this on your website, but get in line. You know, they will be available all year. There'll be a mad rush at the beginning, so
Right.
they'll sell out quickly, and it'll take us a while to replenish. But these should start to ship February, March. Our goal is to have all of these starting to ship and deliver in the first quarter. So
That's awesome.
should be good. Should be good.
So, folks, stay tuned for that, and also stay tuned for more right here at smkw.com. Maury, thank
Yes,
you so
sir.
much, man.
All right,
Appreciate it.
TC. Appreciate you.